Have you ever noticed how easy it is to say I'm fine when you're clearly not? Even when everything inside you is screaming for support, you smile, nod, and carry on as if nothing is wrong. This is one of the quiet paradoxes of everyday life. Asking for help can feel more painful than struggling alone. And the strangest part is that the shame appears exactly when help is most needed. Not when things are easy, not when you're confident, but when you're exhausted, overwhelmed, and barely holding yourself together. The moment you consider asking for help, a voice shows up in your head. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It says things like, "Don't be weak, other people have it worse. You should be able to handle this on your own." This voice feels like common sense, but it isn't. It's conditioning. From an early age, many of us learn that independence equals worth. Being strong means coping silently. Needing help becomes associated with failure, laziness, or inadequacy. So instead of seeing help as a resource, we begin to see it as a confession of weakness. What makes this even more powerful is that shame is a social emotion. It exists to protect us from rejection. Deep down, the brain is constantly asking, "Will this make me look less valuable to others?" Asking for help feels risky because it exposes uncertainty, vulnerability, and limits. The brain interprets that exposure as a threat. It reacts the same way it would to physical danger. Your heart rate changes, your thoughts tighten, and suddenly the idea of asking feels unbearable. So you don't, you stay silent, and that silence slowly turns into isolation. There's another layer that makes this even harder. Many people believe they are a burden, not because they actually are, but because they've internalized the idea that their needs are inconvenient. They replay moments when someone sighed, looked busy, or didn't respond immediately. The brain stitches these moments together into a story. I shouldn't ask. I'll annoy them. I'll disappoint them. This story feels real, even when there's no evidence for it. And once that story takes hold, it becomes easier to suffer quietly than to risk confirming it. Ironically, the same people who feel ashamed to ask for help are often the first to help others. They listen, they support, they show up. But when the roles reverse, something breaks inside. The rules suddenly change. Compassion becomes something they give, not something they deserve. This creates an invisible imbalance where strength is defined as endurance rather than honesty. Over time, this mindset drains energy, deepens loneliness, and reinforces the belief that pain must be handled alone. The truth that rarely gets talked about is this: the human brain was never designed to survive in isolation. Emotional regulation, stress relief, and resilience are deeply social processes. When you ask for help, you're not failing a test of independence. You're activating one of the most fundamental survival mechanisms we have. Connection isn't a weakness, it's infrastructure. Without it, even the strongest mind begins to crack. The shift happens when you realize that asking for help doesn't mean you've reached the end. It means you've reached awareness. It means you recognize that pain ignored grows louder, not smaller. The discomfort you feel before asking is not a sign you shouldn't ask. It's a sign you're stepping outside an old pattern. And old patterns always resist change. Shame tries to keep you familiar, even if familiar hurts. When someone finally does ask for help, something unexpected often happens. They are met not with judgment, but with relief. People feel trusted. They feel closer. The connection deepens. And the shame that once felt overwhelming begins to shrink, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because the burden is no longer carried alone. The next time you feel that tightness in your chest when you think about reaching out, pause. Notice the story your mind is telling you. Question it. Ask yourself whose voice it really is. Because needing help doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't pushing through in silence, but allowing yourself to be seen, heard, and supported. If this feeling sounds familiar, it's because almost everyone experiences it. We just don't talk about it, and that silence is exactly what keeps it alive.